there, Simon from simonwoods.com. 5 Portuguese white wines. Yes, white wine. Portugal known probably more for red wines than whites, but honestly the white wines can be terrific. And as with the reds, they've got a whole raft of mad grape varieties that you really don't find in too many other places. Yes, some of them you might have heard of. We've got the one to finish with called Verdelho. You might have heard of that in Madeira, but also in Australia. Is the Verdelho that they've got in Australia the same as the one in Portugal? Debate is hot. But I think the others, they're all really from stuff that you don't find all that much elsewhere. Without any further ado, let's dig into a Vinho Verde. Adega de Moncal, Vinho Verde Branco, and I've got them organised in alcohol order. And so it also tends to run from north, coolest north, to south. So anyway, let's just dive in. 2010 vintage. I don't know if you can see from that against my stripy shirt, there's a little bit of fizz to it. Vinho Verde, you often find that prickle of fizz here. Here it's almost like a semi-fizzy wine. In fact, I look around here and there's a ring, almost like a frothy beer type of ring clinging to the inside of the bottle. Grapes here, Trajadora, known further south as Treixadora, and Alvarinho, which is known further north on the other side of the border in Spain as Albarino. Same grape. Well, you can almost smell the fizziness if that doesn't sound too odd. There's like an Alka-Seltzer sprightliness and spritz. There's something ever so slightly a cross between sherbet and aspirin, if that makes sense. And then this tight, lean pear apple fruit behind. It's a clean, fresh, lively style. Sort of thing I want if I've got grilled sardines, something that's got freshness. Also quite a lot of fruit, something to wash away those little bits of oiliness and yeah, help the fish slither down your throat. Pretty tasty, and I think some people will taste a wine like that and think it doesn't taste it enough. Well, I don't know, I've got on board with wines that are trying to smother me with too much flavour. I quite like the delicacy and gentleness of that. Let's see whether we are delicate and gentle when we go a bit further south into the Douro Valley. So this is Crasto, 2010. They're, again, better known for Douro, very well known for red wines now. But this is their white, made from Gouveio, Rupero and Rabigato. Again, grapes you really don't see elsewhere. Well, it's 0.5% higher in alcohol, but it feels like it's going to be a fuller, fleshier wine. The fruit flavours here feel like they're going to be that bit riper, so we're on the peach, and peach verging on the peach melba with that little bit of vanilla and raspberry almost in there. If there is apple here, as there was in the first one, it's more that apple froth. You know, when chefs get creative and they make apple spume, and to put it on your plate next to something, feels like it's got some of that richer frothiness to it. And those aromas carry on when you come to taste it. Yes, it's got those fruit, but it's also got this minerally undercurrent. I think, I don't know what the soil is in particular here. The Douro's got quite a bit of lime. It's got some bits of limestone. It's got quite a bit of granite, and yeah, there's something there that's definitely giving it this life beyond fruit character. It's almost like there's something about Loire Sauvignon in there, like a gunflinty Puy Fume type of character, but with this slightly more voluptuous fruit. But it's not trying to wallop you around the head with power and alcohol. 12%. It's got a freshness. It's like Bordeaux, Portuguese white for Sauvignon fans, really. Pretty tasty at that. A bit further south still now in Daul. So this is Cabrites Colheita Seleccionada 2010. Grapes Malvasia Fina, Encruzado and Cecil Branco and Bical. Do you remember fruit salad chews? Those ones that are like orange and pink. There's something very, very similar to that, but it's also got this mineral note in the way that the Crasto had that gunflinty mineral note. It's got something very similar here. Feels like it's going to be a softer, yeah, maybe not quite as fine-boned as the Crasto, but still feels like it's going to have quite a lot of personality. It's okay, gentle, juicy, that mineral character may be more pronounced on the nose than when you come to taste it. Finish has got that nice bone-dry style. There feels to be something ever so slightly, I was talking about Alka-Seltzer on the first one, there's something seltzer-like there, and yeah, it just freshens up the finish, gives it an almost savoury note. Nice, Prefer the Crasto. Final two, we are down in the Alentejo, and it's from the same winery, the Esparao winery, which is one of the movers and shakers down there. This is their Montevelo 2010, made from Rupero, Anton Vaz and Perum. I have to say I've stuck my nose in there and not a huge amount comes out. I get the that sort of like slight cough-inducing edge of sulfur dioxide, but beyond that it's one of those what I call a vague pear and maybe a little bit of peach character, but doesn't feel like it's got a huge lot to say for itself, although it may have more when I taste it. Let's have a do. It's okay. It's got a bit of flesh to it. It's got some of this almost tinned pear rather than fresh pear character. That's the crunchiness that you get in when you bite into a tinned pear, and maybe a slightly savoury minerality, but not amazingly complex. Perfectly tasty wine. Let's see whether their big brother can outdo that. This is their 2010 Verdelho from Herdade do Esparao. Herdade, come to Herdade. And this smells like it's got a bit more going on in it. It's got a similar pear character, but it's also got things like quince. They make this stuff called membrillo, which is like a quince jelly, and you have with cheeses both in Spain and in Portugal. And it's got that type of character. And again, as with the pear, I think of them as both having a slightly gritty texture. Can you smell grittiness? I can. Yeah, quite peachy pear. This quince. There's also a nice texture, a bit like walnut skin. There's something almost on that savoury edge, slightly nutty, and then there's a creaminess, there's a touch of vanilla. It's got a really nice texture. One of those that it tastes good now, but it feels like there's something in there that makes me think a couple of years, and that will have softened, and there'll almost be something Riesling-like character coming out, maybe even a touch of that petrol-y thing that Riesling develops, which might put some people off it entirely, but might have people saying, that sounds very intriguing. It is an intriguing wine. Probably, I don't know, that and the Crasto. Toss up between which of those two is my favourite, but the Vigne Verde wasn't bad either. Hey, but nice set of interesting 5 wines from interesting grape varieties. See you soon.